Hello, Chevra. Welcome back to the Cantor's Corner. This week we read in Parshah Bishalach how after the Israelites went free out of Egypt and crossed the Sea of Reeds, they began their journey through the desert. While in the desert, God fed the Israelites with manna. Manna, which fell upon the dew, was to be collected by every Israelite, and every Israelite was to collect as much as they needed, and only as much as they needed. If an Israelite collected more than what they needed, the remainder would either go bad or there would be infested with bugs. This taught the Israelites that they should only take however much they need. And that is a lesson that I believe we are sorely lacking today. We, as a planet, waste a tremendous amount of food. According to a recent study, between 1 and 2 billion tons of food are wasted globally each year. That amounts to roughly 30 to 50% of the total food supply. That is just about between 2 and 4 trillion pounds of food. To give you a sense of the scope that I'm talking about, there are roughly 2 trillion Wikipedia links, and people estimate that there are about 3.5 trillion fish in the ocean. Wasting 2 to 4 trillion pounds of food is a monumental amount of sustenance. Developed nations waste nearly as much food as the total amount of food harvested from sub-Saharan African countries. Having spent a little time in a sub-Saharan African country, these people need that food. And they need not just the food, they need to be easily accessible and easily purchasable food. Waste happens in every single part of the supply chain, whether it is the production or the processing or in the retail cycle. In most developed nations, the most food that is wasted happens in the retail end, especially because of supermarkets' high standards for how beautiful a piece of fruit or piece of food must be in order to be presented. While in underdeveloped nations, most of the food waste is in the production and in the processing stages. Food waste or bio-waste, which is the second largest source of waste in landfills, produces about a third of the methane emissions that happen on this planet. Keep in mind, methane is a greenhouse gas that is about 25 times worse for the environment than CO2. Plus, businesses waste easily upwards of $1 billion or more per year in food waste. So this is both a moral issue, it is an environmental issue, and it is an economic issue. And people are starting to listen. The state of Massachusetts has banned any form of commercial food waste. So restaurants or supermarkets are required to take food that would have been sent to the landfill, and they must either be recycled, it must be given to food banks, or it must be sent for composting. The upstarting company, Hungry Harvest, which is based out of Maryland, has chosen to take quote-unquote ugly fruits and vegetables and resell them at a reduced cost to Maryland residents. They pitched their idea to the TV show Shark Tank with the original idea of getting $50,000 and having them have a 5% share in the company, and the people liked it so much that they doubled that, giving Hungry Harvest $100,000 in exchange for a 10% share of the company. Certainly, these are actions that are helping, but it's not enough. We have to step up and do our part, and boy, we can do a lot. We can plan out our meals before going to shop, which means that we would buy only the groceries that we need for the meals that we are planning to have. We can learn to love leftovers, whether they are the leftovers are food that we are making or leftovers from a restaurant. That little bit of food can go quite a long way. You can take foods that you might consider to be not fit for use, and you can repurpose them. For example, have some stale bread in your house, crumble it up for breadcrumbs, or make it into croutons. Do you have overripe bananas lying around? You can take those bananas and they are perfect for banana bread. Do you have leftover dry cooked rice? That cooked rice is a perfect starter for making dried rice. And you can take your other veggies that may not look to be in the best condition. You can stir fry that all together to make a comparably healthy dish, especially if you use brown rice and you use oils like coconut oil or olive oil, which are higher in those good fats that people want. If you have uncooked food scraps, you can take those and you can compost them instead of throwing them in the garbage. That compost, you can use that compost to generate healthy soil, which you can use then in your own edible garden. Do you have extra packaged or canned goods? Take those goods and donate them to a food bank or give them to people who are in the most need that you see around. If you do have to throw food away, monitor how much you are throwing away. You can weigh it out based on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Keep a running tally. See if you can reduce as much food waste as possible. Talk to your friends and your family about what you're experiencing in this Devar Torah. The conversation will only continue if other people are engaged. Or you can volunteer at a food bank, whether it be a Jewish food bank, a non-Jewish food bank. You can also donate or volunteer for organizations like Feeding America. In Judaism, we are keenly aware of eliminating any forms of waste, whether it be food or ritually in the forms of brachot. We never want a bracha, much like our food, to go to waste. So join me, and together, through our actions, we can work towards a future with nothing left unturned.